I'll have him today.
Oh God, that's great.
We'll try it. We'll give it a whack.
Quite a bit. Wasn't nearly prepared for this.
Yeah, my name's Simon Lee Mountford. I'm 55. I'm a very passionate person. I sit on lots of committees and panels throughout my local area to bring about change.
Hi, I'm Liz. My interest is helping people who are in the process of being diagnosed or recently diagnosed to have an understanding about autism.
My name is Thomas, and I love watching EastEnders. My favourite character on EastEnders is Cat Slater.
I'm Neve. I am a student at Keele, studying geology and biology.
My name is Nicole. I am 28 years old. I'm a big animal lover, and I also love singing and fashion.
Hi, I'm Andy Powsland. I'm a 37-year-old Sagittarius. I'm also trying to get myself set up as a mobile DJ.
I'm Chris. I'm an autistic father to a autistic 22-year-old young lady, teaching for about 30 years now.
My name is Mr. Cole Anthony West. My hobbies are bingo, I like karaoke, I do a bit of drama and filming.
First off, I like to engage in a bunch of various not mainstream things, mostly things like tabletop roleplay games, card games, and all other plethora of nerdy stuff, basically, to help myself remain stimulated and to help me engage with people.
My name's Mark, Mark House Senior. I run my own training business in health and social care. Hobby-wise, I do a lot of reading. Last year I read 312 books in the year.
My name's Tara. I'm a teacher. I teach science with a background in astrophysics.
I was born with a supraarachnoid cyst on the brain which can't be removed. My skulls bulged 2¼ inches to accommodate the cyst. I then caught meningitis because I had a shunt fitted at age 5, and because of growth I had to have one fitted at the age of 9. I clinically died twice when I was 9. I've worked. I'm a fully qualified carpenter and joiner, but my speed and dexterity just isn't there. And on the other side of things, I found out at the age of 44 when I had a breakdown that I got autistic traits.
I just asked, do you want one of the fidget things?
That would be that. Yes, please. Thank you. Thank you. I was diagnosed a couple of years ago, or maybe a year ago, I'm not quite sure. So quite late. I sort of didn't realise until I got to uni. I think I'm because I'm all right with school and like learning and things and like clubs and activities. So but it was sort of taking care of myself and having living a way that kind of showed up all the things that I was actually having trouble with.
I went to the development centre at 2 years old. It was then I was diagnosed with a learning disability.
I spent all my life pretty much in and out of hospital over the years because I had perforated anus. I was born with a bum hole, layman's terms. So I've had open heart surgery twice. So I've been in and out of hospital more times than I've had hot dinners.
I've not taken any notice of my learning disability. I'm a person first. I don't take any notice of the labels because I've been called all sorts in the past.
Managing autism is about understanding my own brain, and what I do for mine, I have to link it with how my mental health works, because if I allow myself to get into stressful, anxiety-provoking environments, then my autistic traits, if you like, could get a lot higher, which shouldn't really be a problem, but society won't understand that.
I've gone through quite a bit of a trip, quite an adventure with my life particularly, because I've gone from mainstream primary where nothing was really made, nothing was done, nothing was changed for me, to specialist high school kind of stuff going upwards from 11. And there everything was upsy-daisy, everything worked as it should have, everyone was prepared to make accommodations and adjustments and to make all the changes needed to make everything work as well as possible. And then I've come back into mainstream for college, and I've been able to get some help, but it has been a fight and it's been a bit of a daunting task.
I found that the diagnosis has actually helped me. It's made me understand why some of my behaviours are like they are and why I do things in a certain way.
I was 47-year-old. I got it as a direct result of my daughter saying, who was going through a diagnosis herself at the time, "If I am, you are, Dad."
I had no idea really that I was autistic until I started working with students who were autistic. And it was one of the students I was working with actually said, "Did you used to do this as a child?" And I said, "Yeah." And he says, "I think you're autistic."
I feel very upset about what happened to Oliver and so is Stanley, especially his nun, Paula.
Oliver's story makes me feel bad, basically, because to think that he suffered so much for something that he could do nothing about. He didn't have a voice. He wasn't treated respectfully. He was treated very different.
The fact that autistic behaviours by so-called professionals get viewed as mental health issues, psychosis, whatever we want to call it, that increases the stigma that people think autism is mental illness, which it's not.
Well, I myself have seen a lot of myself in Oliver's story, and it actually gives me a very real fear, because I can relate to a lot of the things that are said in Oliver's story about the people not understanding and the people not getting their heads around the whole reasonable adjustments and all the things that have to be changed. And I could see how it could go wrong like that, and it's very scary to be, the same age and have any plethora of things could put me in the same circumstance and have the same stuff happen to me, and I'm very scared of that. So I would like to hope that I can make it so that no one ever has to endure anything like that ever again.
If he'd been listened to, then he wouldn't have died. It's just a case of, if the doctor hadn't listened to me, I wouldn't be here now. Just like Oliver would still be alive if they listened to him.
It's diabolical what happened to Oliver. While I accept that medical professionals have a great deal of knowledge, everybody needs to be listened to, because without that, how can they make a correct clinical decision?
I hope this helps their staff do a good job.
Every professional should know about Oliver and what happened to Oliver. We don't want people dying at the age of 18 to 23 when we know learning disabilities have got 25% more chance of dying than the normal population.
I'm passionate about making people more aware about autism and how it affects people. The thing people struggle with is with autism. Everyone's autism is different. We have different needs. They can change day by day, hour by hour, and even minute by minute.
I share my own experience so people can understand how to support me and others like me.
So I work alongside a facilitator and talk to people about my experiences of healthcare, looking at some of the ways that perhaps we can emulate some of the things that have gone really well. So some of the practitioners that I've worked with that have really helped and developed things, and looked at some easy wins in terms of how to get things to work better and smoother for all concerned.
I help train people up so that they are prepared and more knowledgeable on how to make reasonable adjustments to help accommodate people, and how they can help make the world a more accepting place that can more easily handle people with additional needs.
I'm actually one of the people with lived experience, so I can actually tell people what it's like out there, because my disability is a hidden disability. People can't see it. They presume that I'm just lazy, stupid, daft. That isn't the case, It's just a matter of I can't do things and I know my limitations.
There's that phrase, when you've met one autistic person, you've only met one autistic person, but my experiences will be different to many others, and I think it's about staff in these settings, knowing that we're not all the same, and what would help me might be different to what somebody else needs, but to kind of listen and that sort of thing.
I've got quite a lot of comorbidities like ADHD and GAD. It's good to show, I think, the interaction that different conditions and identities can have with each other.
I do really push about the autistic brain having very literal thought processes, that the world is confusing because people overcomplicate it by sayings that don't mean what is said, thinking that they've got to use lots and lots of big words and big sentences to sound clever.
I just want to get people aware with what happened to Oliver and do it not to happen again.
I'm hoping that training will achieve better outcomes for autistic people and better health care so that autistic people can survive for longer.
I'm hoping that I can change their views on people with learning disabilities and hopefully get a better health care, social care for people.
I hope it will make healthcare professionals feel more comfortable, like kind of asking questions, and more comfortable with like the idea that they might not know. I mean, obviously you can't expect it, like you're not expecting anybody to become an autism expert overnight or ever necessarily. But so I think just I trying to introduce the idea that treating an autistic patient is probably different in ways that you might not expect, and you need to maybe approach it with a little bit of a different, or like approach it with a little bit more sort of open-mindedness than you might otherwise, if that makes sense.
I want to help healthcare staff understand what it's like to have a learning disability.
Basically, speak to us properly as humans, as people. Ask us what we sort of help we want, and then do it. I know I'm disabled, but I don't give a monkey's backside. That I'm just as able-bodied as anyone.
I want to bring real life into it for people. I want people to respect autism in itself.
I'd like to hope that I could achieve as much as possible and to help make as big a change as possible so that hopefully everyone can get the help that they need and have any changes made for them as easily as possible with as least resistance as can be done.
I hope the medical profession and social services taking into account that people with learning disabilities are people first and they do need support when they need it.
It's about time things changed, you know what I mean, so that we can bring about showing people what we can actually do rather than what we can't do, and it makes us a better part of society.
I'm hoping this training is helping healthcare professionals to understand that it's not a one-size-fits-all policy. We often need explanations about why we're doing something so that we can understand the need of why something's being done.
I'm hoping it'll give them a glimpse into the other side of an additional needs person's perspective of, well, everything hopefully, and how it might be relevant to them and what they can do to make it a bit of an easier task for additional need people.
I hope people will listen to us and do a better job of helping people.
I get to work with my friends. I help understand people with a learning disability.
I want to go out there and make a big difference. I want people to listen, and I don't want to push my ideas onto anybody, but just accept me for who I am. I can't change what's happened to me. I can't do anything about that. All I can do is change or explain to you what it's like now and how people's perceptions have got to change to accommodate us, you know what I mean, making adjustments to our workplace, making adjustments in the home or whatever, so it enables us to be able to function quite good in society again.
It means a couple of things. First of all, survival of Oliver's name is really important because actually that's the ultimate way of improving things and developing understanding, but also a chance to help develop autistic culture, which I feel is in its infancy.
It excites me. I'm hoping that I will be able to change the views of people and train people to respect people with learning disabilities and people with autism.
I'm hoping it makes people more aware so that potentially We don't have to have such dependence on secondary mental health services when we're older. If diagnosis is made earlier, children can learn how to cope with some of the things. I'm not saying they'll never need mental health services, but the hope is it wouldn't be such severe mental health services that they need.
I think for me personally, it's to offer my take on my autism. And it's showing that when you've met one person with autism, that's all you've met, one person. It's a huge community.
I've learned a lot recently about how to accommodate myself and engage with services and everything. And obviously, I can just keep doing that by myself for myself. But it's better if you can try and spread it about a bit.
What happened to Oliver was absolutely tragic, and I think if the training changes the experiences of just one person, so something like that doesn't happen again, then it's for good.
I enjoy being part of a training because I get to share my experience and also get to work with my friends.
It means that I can be part of the change that I want to see in the world, and that I can be, hopefully, on the front of making the world a better place. If I can do such, that would be incredible.